Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Bhishaje Bhavarogina Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. What is a good life? A life that is rooted in wisdom. What does wisdom do? Wisdom brings dispassion, and dispassion takes you towards liberation. Wisdom is that introduces you to your true nature. And when you are aware of your true nature, there is a sense of abundance. A sense of abundance brings dispassion in us. Desire and dispassion are opposites. Desire comes from a sense of lack. Desire means what is here right now is not enough, is not good enough. Something more is needed. Dispassion is I have more than what I need. Dispassion leads to gratitude. Desire brings restlessness, feverishness. Dispassion brings peace and contentment. Desire makes you agitated. Dispassion is nothing but the ability to let go. Ability to let go of what you hold on as me and mine. And unless you are able to let go, you cannot relax. Dispassion is there in us already, otherwise we won't be able to sleep every night. Every night we let go of all that we consider is ours, me and mine, the people, the possessions, the pleasures, everything we let go, only then we are able to sleep. Dispassion brings steadiness in you. Only steadiness can take you towards samadhi. If there is no steadiness, there is no experience of samadhi in your meditation. You are just sitting and restless mind is moving around. You are sitting and daydreaming, that's all. When your mind is filled with the desires and fears, there is no steadiness. Forget about meditation. If somebody says, I can't meditate, know that there is a lack of dispassion in them. Whether to sleep or to meditate, you need to be able to let go. When the life situations overwhelm you, when you are too ambitious, you are unable to let go. That is why the more ambitious you are, the less rest you have in your life, the more agitated and restless you become. Do you see this? See, if you remember a situation like in a refugee camp or somewhere where food packets are being dropped, you see how people fight for them, they jump upon each other to snatch it. But you don't do that in your own kitchen. You don't run to the kitchen and then just try to grab whatever is there in a rush, because you know that there is abundance in the kitchen. You know that whenever you go, there is always something that is available to you. That is dispassion. We all own a gold mine, but we are forgetful of it and we are begging for some copper coins. Wisdom is what makes you realize that you are the owner of the mine. You own God itself. And when you own God, when you are God, you don't need to beg anybody anything. And that wisdom will bring you steadiness and dispassion. And from there you feel freedom. Desire brings attachment. Attachment needs you to more actions, and that will bind you to the world. We have all heard this Jada-Bharata story, isn't it? So Bharata, he was a king. He ruled for 100 years. And then, seeking liberation, he renounced his kingdom and went to the forest. He did intense sadhana, tapas, for a couple of decades. And then one day he saw a baby deer being washed away in the river. So out of compassion, he jumped into the river and picked the deer. Now it's a just born deer. So once he has rescued it, then you have to look after it as well. It can't survive by itself. Now he had to find a shelter for it, find food for it, find a place where it can be protected. When he was on his own, he was fine. He would sleep under a tree, he would eat some roots, some fruits, he would fast. But now he can't do that. He has to feed this baby, the new kid on the block, regularly. And he sits for meditation. Earlier he would sit for, first thing he would do is he would go into sadhana. Now he has to first make sure everything is looked after for that, and then get into meditation, then find some time for his sadhana. We all are familiar with this situation in our lives. And then he sits for his sadhana, then again the deer comes and tugs at his clothes. He has to attend to it. And he is afraid to keep his eyes closed. He is worried this is a naughty baby, it can wander away, it may get lost, it may become a prey for one of the wild animals. So he is sitting, but his mind is all over the place. He is unable to meditate. His dispassion has given way to attachment now. And in this state of being attached to the deer, he leaves the body. And even at the time of leaving the body, he is constantly worried, oh, what is going to happen after me? All mothers are worried about their children. What is going to happen to my child if I am not there? I was having a conversation with one of my friends who had some health problem diagnosed recently. And then she was very worried. That she was saying, I am not worried about what is going to happen to me, but who is going to look after my children? Unable to let go. So, the deer being the strongest impression in his consciousness, he was born as a deer. But then he had done so much sadhana, and through the merit of that sadhana, he was able to be aware of what happened. So he passed that life as well, and then he was born as a prince again. He again underwent a whole life as a prince, and then in another life was born as in a Brahmin family, in a priest's family. And he decided that my main reason for attachment was my engagement with the world. So I will become totally inert to the world. The world does not exist for me. So he completely blocked himself mentally from the world. So people thought he was dim-witted, dull, useless person. Very similar to Hastamalakada, one of the disciples of Adi Shankara, who thought talking is useless to people who don't understand the highest wisdom. He would never open his mouth, and everybody thought he is a dullard. One day it so happened that the king of that country, very wise king, he was going in search of his guru to find some wisdom. And as they were passing through the village of Bharata, in this lifetime he was called Jada Bharata. Jada means dull and inert. And then one of the people who were carrying the palanquin of the king, he fell sick. So they looked around, they found this Jada Bharata sitting there, a well-built, strong man, and they said, "Come on, give a hand. The king is here. We need to carry him." So Jada Bharata became the fourth person, replaced one of those people who were carrying. And because he was so constantly immersed in the self, his attention to the outside world was not that great. It's like, you are having a power nap, suddenly you have a jerk and wake up. So he was half awake, half asleep sort of a thing, and whenever that would happen, he would miss a step, and then the coordination would go and the king would feel the jerk inside. So once it happened a couple of times, the king asked, "Is there a problem? No, are you okay?" He said, "I'm fine." And then it happened again. Again the king asked, "Do you need something? Are you thirsty? Are you tired? Do you want to rest?" He said, "No, I'm fine." And the third time when it happened again, the king became very angry. "You can't do a simple thing, and you are disturbing me, and you are also causing difficulty to the other people as well. So you will be punished instead of rewarded." The king was very angry. And the king expected that whenever a king is angry at an ordinary subject, king expected him to be apologetic, embarrassed, fearful. But Jadabharata looked at the king in his eyes and smiled with compassion. That shook the king. So the king looked at him and said, "Who are you? Where have you come from? And what are you doing here?" So Jadabharata looked at him and said, "O king, you can ask these questions to anybody, the answer will be the same. Just like you, I am the self, I am the Atman. Just like you, I also came from the Brahman. And just like you, I am just burning my karmas here." So suddenly the king realized that this is not an ordinary person. So I was going in search of a guru, now the guru is right in front of me. So he jumps down, bows down to him and says, "Please give me some knowledge. Can we have a conversation? When you said, 'I am Atman,' what does it mean? Who is Atman?" And he says, "That unchanging witness is Atman, and that is what you are and that is what I am. And all that is changing is Anatma. This body is changing, this mind is changing, these thoughts and emotions are changing. The objects are changing. The relationship dynamics are changing. All that is changing is not you. That which is a witness to that unchanging is you. Then the king asked, how can the unchanging and the changing coexist? And if they do coexist, if something affects the unchanging, something affects the changing, it should also affect the unchanging, isn't it? Say for example, you want to make a pudding. Okay, you take a vessel, you put some water, you put some rice, some jaggery, some milk and put it on the fire. So as the fire lights up, the vessel becomes hot, then the water becomes hot, then the rice becomes hot, then the milk becomes, ultimately everything becomes hot, the porridge becomes hot. Similarly, if the circumstances and the people and situations affect the body, affect the mind, it should also affect the soul, affect the self. How come it does not affect? So Jidabara says, your logic is right, but your understanding is wrong. Yes, the vessel will become hot, the pudding will become hot, even the air in the pot and around the pot may become hot, but the space in which all this existing, does it become hot or cold? The space is neither hot nor cold. Similarly, the self is untouched by ups or downs, by heat or cold, by pleasure or pain. But why do we feel this? Why do we feel that we are not that and we identify with the body and mind? It says that is because of ignorance. How do you overcome ignorance? The three things which is constantly repeated in the Bhagavatam. Jnana, Bhakti, Vairagya. He says knowledge, devotion and dispassion. Only these three things will take away the ignorance. And how do we attain them? Satsang. Satsang takes you to knowledge, sadhana makes you sensitive to knowledge. They both have to go together. Just knowledge without sadhana will become just information, will bring a big ego in you that I know, without knowing, without realizing anything. You think you know, you can quote all the verses, but you still suffer in life. Why? Because you still deep inside identify strongly with the body and mind. And you are so easily shakeable. You can be distracted and distressed very easily. Then you are not imbibed that wisdom in you. That imbibing happens only through dispassion. That's why Bhaja Govindam is also called as Moha Mudgara. Moha Mudgara means what? The hammer of knowledge which crushes the attachment of bondage. Sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. Adi Shankara says. Parigraha means holding on to it, being possessive of people and things. Possessiveness is parigraha. Sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha. Just letting go of all that you think as me and mine, able to drop it, and letting go of the craving for bhoga, for pleasures as well. Bhoga tyaga. Only then, that is the hallmark of a dispassionate. One who is able to let go of the pleasures, one who is able to let go of all that you are holding as me and mine. And when you are able to do that, what pleasure you will not have in life? Any joy is yours. Contentment and peace. So dispassion is called as the greatest wealth in life. Sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha kasya sukham na karoti viraga. What is it that, what is the joy that dispassion does not bring? So here Adi Shankara takes you through few things which you could do practically to attain this good life. Kamam krodham lobham moham tyaktvatmanam bhavayasoham Atmagnana moodah te pachyante narakanigodah. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Moodhamate. Where are your energies directed in life? Where do you direct your dhruti in life? What is your focus in life? Just do this one exercise. Write down all the activities which you engage through your body and mind, and then see how much each activity, how much value each one brings to your life. And grade them in that order. How much time you spend on this thing and how much value it brings to your life. And make it a habit that every week just take off one thing which is not bringing any value to your life. And then you will see that you will never be overwhelmed by life. You will never say, oh, I am too busy, I don't have time. You will always have time. All that you need to do is have this clarity that what is it that is valuable in life, and then put more focus there. Here Adi Shankara says, Kamam, Krodam, Lobam, Moham. Look where your energies are moving. Behind desires, lust, anger, greed, attachment. One very important thing I forgot to tell in that story. Jada Bharata says, "O king, I was also a king 4 lifetimes ago. Just one attachment to one small deer put my journey back by 4 lifetimes. So be careful. Drop the attachment." So kamam is desire. As we said, desire indicates a sense of lack. I should not have any desire is another desire. So what do we do practically? Desires come. When the desires come, know the nature of the desire that has never given you contentment and drop it. If you cannot drop the desire, desire for something which is much bigger. All your desires are for small little things. My money, my son, my daughter, my parent, my job, my name. Drop all that, choose something bigger. Or desire for the highest, desire for liberation, desire for wisdom. Rise above convenience. So, if you are able to drop desires. If you are not able to drop desire for something much bigger. You know, when you desire for something much bigger, there is no feverishness in that. There is no stress in that desire. So, kamam, krodam, lobam, moham, tyaktvatmanam, bhavaya soham. Drop that and engage in this inquiry of who am I, or this realization that I am that. Soham, I am that. Atma gnana vihina moda te pachyante narakanigoda. This is the nature of the self. This is the knowledge of the self. I am that. When this knowledge does not dawn in you, what happens? You will be tormented in the darkest hells, he says. He warns you. Te pachyante narakanigoda. Atma gnana vihina moda. The fool who does not have this knowledge of the self, he will be tormented and suffer in the darkest of hells. So, make sure where you are spending your energy in your life, slowly shuffle away, shuffle things and remove all this dust, remove all these unwanted, useless things in life. Make a value based mapping of your life and remove all these unwanted things, and then focus on the self. Focus on the self. Otherwise, you will continue to suffer lifetime after lifetime. You know, in the Kathopanishad, Yamata asks the self the same thing. The first step, he says, when Nachiketa asks about Atma Jnana, he says, The first step, Nachiketa, is to find out what is Shreya, what is Preya. In life there are two things, one that is good for you, one that you like to do. Know the difference. One who holds on to what he only likes to do, he will never attain the goal in life. But one who holds on to what is good for life, he will reach. Convenience and commitment. When you hold on to the commitment, you will reach where you have to reach. When you hold on to convenience, then you will never. You will always find excuses. Do you see? You know, when you find excuses, when something you are not committed to, you find excuses. Isn't it? You want to fly out and the flight is at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, you will not say it is not convenient. You will get up and go. But if you have to come for Kriya at 6 o'clock in the morning, oh, it's too early. Do you see? It only shows that you are not committed to that cause. So stay committed. Find out what is important and stay committed to it, and then you will reach your goal. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupamajasram Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupamajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Chavittam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Here he gives one sort of a direction. He says, so how do I utilize my time? How is my time best utilized? He says, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. Study the scripture, study the Gita, study the shlokas in the Gita, imbibe the knowledge in the Gita. Dheyam Shripati Rupamajasram. Carry the form of the divine, of the enlightened in your mind all the time. Dwell on the, if at all you want to dwell on any name and form, dwell on the name and form of the divine. Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam. Focus your mind on the wise, on the enlightened, on their actions, on their behavior, on the information, on the techniques they are teaching you, their guidance. Deyam Dina Janaya Chavittam. Whatever you have as wealth, whatever goodness you have been bestowed with, share it with everybody, especially those who are needy. Share your knowledge, share your wealth, share your time, share your compassion, all that you share. So, he is telling where you should engage your body and mind in. Study the scriptures, meditate on the form of the divine, and be in satsang as much as you can. And whatever you have, share it freely with everybody. You know, today afternoon we were having a conversation over lunch, and this question came up, somebody asking, we don't know whether there is another life or not, and we are telling do something good because in the next lifetime you will enjoy the rewards of it. So what is the guarantee you will get the reward? Why should I do good? I mean, why should you do good? Should ask the question, why should I do bad? Then there is some logic to it. Why should you do good itself is a very immature question. Because you can do good, do good. Even though the good and bad are very superficial descriptions, but if you think there is something good you need to do, why do we always go with the attitude of I will do something only if I get something? Do you see this? Whatever goodness you have, share it freely. It does not matter whether you get something or not. You will indeed get many folds, but that should not be an attitude. You should not do something good because you are going to get something back good. It will come, but that is not at all, because you are able to do. Do you see this? So, you should not try to find a reason to do these things. Why should I study the scriptures? Why should I go to satsang? Why should I share? All these are irrelevant questions. So, that is what it is. That should become your nature. My nature is to share. My nature is to support everybody around me and do whatever I can do. Instead of coming with the attitude of what can I get from you, if you stand with how can I help? What can I do for you? That itself is a rewarding life. The talks, somebody asked Gurudev, what motivates you to do all these things? Going around the world, teaching people. And he says, you need motivation to do something which is not your nature. The sun does not need motivation to shine. It is its nature. The river flows, the sun shines, the wind blows, and this is my nature. I don't need inspiration or motivation to do something which is in my nature. So, when you rest in yourself, all these qualities which are your very nature, interest in knowledge, desire to share, desire to reach out, wanting to serve, all this will come out on their own. Okay? And here he says, this is how you should engage. This is a good life when you can do all these things. Sukata kriyate Rama bhogaha paschadanta sharire rogaha yadyapi loke maranam sharanam tadapi namunchati papa charanam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. So, Shankaracharya says how an ideal life should be. What is a worth life? What is a worthy life? What is a good life? And here he says what usually happens in the world. Sukatah kriyate Rama bhogaha paschadanta sharire rogaha. God has given this beautiful body, and within 30-40 years we all wreck it off. We make it an abode of all diseases. How do we do that? By engaging overindulgence in pleasures. You abuse this body to the extent it can no longer take your abuse. Recently this person passed away, this investor Rakesh Junjunwala. He said, I invested in everything in life except my health. So, everything gave me returns, but my health went down. So, what is the point? As you get older and older, you will realize, you should realize it when you are young, at least as you grow older, you should realize that when there is no health, you can enjoy nothing in life. Just see when you get even a small fever or headache, how all the joy in the world appears drained off. Isn't it? In the world, if you are not well, nothing, even if food doesn't taste you. Isn't it? So, look around and see how things are happening. You may have all the wealth, but if there is no health, what will you do? If your body is an abode of diseases. So, sukata kriyate Rama bhogaha paschadanta sharire roga. If you abuse your body with pleasures all the time, you will end up being an abode of diseases. This body is a temple of God, but you will make it into a hospital. Yadyapi loke maranam sharanam tadapi na munchati papacharanam. Everybody knows that our final destination, we have to let go of this body. Death is not far away, but still you will never let go of your sinful deeds. You will continue to engage in taking shortcuts in life, in doing something which is not right, as knowing very well that it is not right, knowing very well that this life is going to end soon. What I am going to carry with me, that is where I need to invest my energies, not in all these fleeting pleasures and possessions. Arthamanartham भावय नित्यं नास्ति ततः सुखलेश सत्यं पुत्रादपि धन भाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते. Artham anartham bhavaya nrityam. Know this for sure, that money or wealth is the greatest corrupter of your life. See, money is essential. It brings you a sense of security, it brings you comfort, you can afford luxuries. You can focus on some other things as well when you got enough money. But when money becomes the destination, becomes the end in itself, thinking that the more money I have, the more happy I will be, the more secure I will be, then that is an illusion. It says artham anartham. Money is a great destroyer. It destroys character, it destroys integrity, it destroys relationships. How many families have broken because of money? Look how many brothers have become enemies. How many siblings have fought because of money. Putradapi dhana bhajam bhitihi. People who have money, they are afraid of their own children. You saw what Aurangzeb did. He imprisoned his own father for the wealth and power, for the seat. And he says, this is the nature of the world. Sarvatraisha vihita ritihi. This is how the world is running. Open your eyes. Why are you running behind money so much? How much money do you want? How much will you enjoy? Most of your money you will leave here and go for somebody else to enjoy. Let go. Focus your time on something which is more valuable, more important. That which you can carry, that wealth, you focus on that. Money brings a false sense of security. But you see, the more money you have, the more lonely you feel, the more afraid you are, isn't it? You look at all the houses of big people, they have got higher and higher compounds, so much security. You are living more fear. Do you see this? Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya viveka vicharam Chapya sameta samadhi vidhanam kuru avadhanam mahavadhanam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. Now he says what you should prioritize in your life. Kuru avadhanam mahavadhanam means bring a sense of urgency in your life now. Do this now, he is saying. What does he say? What should you? Pranayamam pratyaharam. We impose our unhappiness over external situations. If that situation gets right, if this person treats me okay, if that changes, then I will be happy. But what we don't realize or don't attend to is that it is all the energy within me, the prana. The higher the level of prana, the more clarity I have about life, the more wisdom I can attain. So he says, engage in enhancing your prana, sustaining your prana. We lose our prana by talking, by pleasures, by worrying. And he says, just plug these holes and engage in sadhana which will enhance your prana, and with that, knowledge comes to you. Wisdom dawns in you, pleasures come seeking you, joy will never leave you. Pranayamam pratyaharam. Pratyahara is alternate food. Your mind is always running outside. So what you do for a moment, you arrest that and place it on something else. All the guided meditations are pratyahara. The mind which is constantly running out, you turn it inward. Pranayamam pratyaharam. You want to talk knowledge instead of gossiping. So, whatever the activity, you direct the activity towards something that is uplifting. Devotion is that your attachment is to people and possessions. If you all want to attach, be attached to divine, be attached to yourself. That is pratyahara. Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya nitya viveka vicharam. What is viveka? What is nitya? What is anitya? Knowing the difference between what is temporary and what is permanent. Again and again focus on what is temporary, what is permanent. In me as well, I have got a part which is eternal and an aspect of me which is finite and perishable. I am imperishable in nature, but I also have an aspect of me which is perishable. And knowing this, whenever somebody says, why am I suffering? Ask the question, who is suffering? The suffering only happens in the perishable, finite part of your existence. The infinite, the eternal aspect, the divine aspect never suffers. There is no elation or suffering in that. This is what Viveka does. Nitya Nitya Viveka Vicharam. Again and again engage in this inquiry of what is temporary, what is permanent, what is eternal, what is finite. Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam. And go through all the techniques that help you to get into Samadhi, helps you to overcome the mind, transcend the mind. Whether it is chanting, whether it is rituals, whether it is meditation, all the sadhanas which have been given. See, sadhana itself means an instrument. Isn't it? The literal meaning of sadhana is an instrument. So, your sadhana are all these different instruments which take you beyond the mind. Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam. The techniques of getting to Samadhi, which include something like japa. See, here also he says, the purpose of your japa or your chanting or the ritual is to help you transcend the mind. Yeah? Kuru avadhanam mahavadhanam. Now do it now. He says twice. Kuru avadhanam. Now engage in that. Mahavadhanam. Show a great sense of urgency. This is where you need to focus your life on. Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha Samsara Dachirad Bhavamuktaha Sendriya Manasa Niyamadeham Sendriya Manasa Niyamadeham Drakshasi Nija Hridayastam Devam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate Samprapte Sannihite Kale Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrung Karane Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. And then he says, what is the catalyst for this process? Guru is the catalyst. Surrender to the master, surrender to the Guru. Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktara. One who surrenders to the Guru, samsara chirad bhava mukta. Instantly he is uplifted from this ocean, from the misery of samsara. Guru is the embodiment of knowledge, embodiment of compassion, embodiment of that eternal self which you are now trying to realize. He is that. You are trying to see that you are that, he is already that. That is why you feel such a great attraction to the self, to the Guru, because Guru is nothing but an embodiment of the self itself. That is why there is such an attraction to the master, to knowledge, to divine. Say Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha Samsarad Dachirad Bhavam. Instantly he becomes free from suffering. Samsara is suffering. You are uplifted from suffering the moment Guru enters your life. In the presence of the master, suffering vanishes like a dewdrop in the morning sun. Sendriya manasa niyama deham. Your effort should only be to restrain your body and mind, to be able to manage your body and your senses and your mind. If you are able to manage your mind and your senses, Drakshyasi nija hrudayastam devam. You can see the divine which you are seeking everywhere outside in your very heart. In your very heart means in the core of you, it is divine. You are the divine. That divinity which is in you, you don't have to see anywhere or seek anywhere outside. What you are is what it is everywhere. That divinity, if you have to attain, if you have to realize the divine within yourself, then the Guru is the quickest way, because in the Guru you are able to see the divinity which you may not see in yourself or in other people, you are able to see in the Guru. And then surrendering to him, the same divinity starts opening up in you. The same wisdom starts manifesting in you. The same joy, the same dispassion starts growing in you. Whatever you adore, that you will become. So when you adore the Master, the same qualities start growing in you, start happening in you. And that which you are, the true self, that will shine through you. Jai Gurudev. When you are able to see the divinity in everything, in everything. And that happens when the mala in the mind is taken away. When the kalmashas in your intellect and your mind is removed through sadhana and satsang, then you will be able to see that. Yes. And then what else? Which other shloka? And there is this methodology he gives, you see, satsangatve nisangatvam nisangatve nirmohatvam nirmohatve nischalatatvam nischalatatve jivan muktihi. He gives the roadmap to liberation. The first step is satsang. Only when you come in the company of the wise, this is our biggest problem in life. Why we are roaming around like headless chicken is because we are surrounded by headless chickens. Our company is that which is deeply rooted in the world, in the samsara. So you have to make an effort to come to satsang, to be in the company of wisdom, to be in the company of truth. That will take you to what? Nisangatvam. That will weaken your attachments to the world. Attachment to the truth will weaken your attachment to the world. And nisangatva nirmohatvam. And then you are able to let go. It gives you the strength to let go. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. And it is this ability to let go which makes you steady and unshakable. Nischala means unshakability, that ability to be steady. That is success. Unfortunately, in the world today, we describe success in terms of external gains. The real success is your ability, how much unshakable you are in the face of adversity. That is the real wealth, and that is what dispassion brings in you. A dispassionate person cannot be shaken. Nischalatatve jivan mukti. Only through dispassion you are able to become free. What binds you is all these external things which think they will be able to shake you. But when you say, I am not dependent on anything, I want nothing, I am here to give, then there is nothing that can shake you, and that is freedom, that is true freedom. That is when you become free. Very good, very good. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhat bhave. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha samsare बहुदुस्तारे इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारे कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारे भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम